When the Outlaw Josey Wales hit theaters, it was more than just another Western. The movie premiered at a moment when audience interest in the genre was waning. Still, it managed to recapture viewers' attention with raw emotion, unforgettable characters, and Clint Eastwood performing at the height of his abilities. Beneath the dust, gunfire, and sprawling landscapes lies a tale full of chaos, unforeseen choices, and enduring influence. Today, we're revealing 25 secrets that have remained hidden for decades about the making of this classic film. First, the novel that almost went unnoticed. The project began with a book that nearly slipped by without attention. Clint Eastwood's production office received manuscripts daily, most of which were returned unopened. One unusual submission, however, caught the eye: a novel titled The Rebel Outlaw Josey Wales. A handwritten cover letter accompanied it, praising Eastwood's kind eyes and humbly requesting his consideration. That personal touch was enough for producer Robert Daly to take it home and read. Inside, he discovered a gripping story of loss, vengeance, and resilience, perfect material for Eastwood. Daly quickly sent the manuscript to him, and Eastwood immediately saw its potential. He was so confident in its value that he even contributed money to secure the screenplay. This rare gesture demonstrated his strong belief in the story. Without that unique letter and Daly's initiative, The Outlaw Josey Wales might never have been made, leaving one of the greatest Westerns untold. Next, the surprising past of the author. The book that inspired The Outlaw Josey Wales came from a writer who initially seemed enigmatic. Presented as Forrest Carter, a Cherokee author with deep cultural ties, the novel was praised for its rugged authenticity. Its success led to a re-release under the new title Gone to Texas, opening the door for Carter to publish more works, including the bestseller The Education of Little Tree, widely believed to be his memoir. Years later, however, the truth emerged. Forrest Carter was actually Asa Earl Carter, a man previously involved in divisive politics. The revelation shocked fans and critics, raising questions about the identity behind the stories. Despite this, the legacy of Josey Wales endured. For audiences, the timeless tale of resilience and survival mattered more than the creator's history. Still, the revelation added a complex layer to the film's origins. Before Eastwood assumed full control, director Philip Kaufman shaped the movie. Kaufman, an admirer of the novel, aimed to keep the screenplay as faithful as possible, emphasizing Josey as a hardened, straight-talking survivor while retaining colorful side characters such as Lone Wade, Laura Lee, Little Moonlight, and Grandma Sarah. Kaufman worked to remove heavy political overtones while still capturing post-Civil War divisions, balancing action with emotional depth. His choice to keep Union soldiers as a recurring threat heightened tension and led to a climactic showdown. Although Kaufman's tenure was cut short, much of his groundwork remained, laying the foundation for the Western audiences ultimately embraced. Casting Laura Lee proved challenging. The character was meant to be about 22, yet Eastwood insisted on Sandra Lockatch, then 32. Kaufman questioned whether audiences would accept her in the youthful role, creating tension. Eastwood, however, trusted Lockatch's ability to bring emotional resonance, balancing vulnerability with strength. His insistence overrode Kaufman's objections, and Lockatch's performance brought warmth and humanity to the film. This choice, initially controversial, demonstrated Eastwood's confidence in trusting his instincts. The film's atmosphere was deliberate. Eastwood scheduled production in autumn, when natural light produced long shadows and richer tones. Cinematographer Bruce Surtees collaborated closely, relying on nature rather than artificial lighting to craft an earthy, hauntingly beautiful look. Unlike other westerns filmed under harsh sun or bright stages, this approach embraced muted skies and natural contrast, emphasizing the story's darker themes of loss and survival. The autumn light gave the movie a timeless texture, with dusky shadows becoming a signature part of its somber, heroic tone. Tension on set escalated, leading to Eastwood firing Kaufman. The director's precise, methodical style clashed with Eastwood's preference for quick, instinctive shooting. After a disagreement over a desert scene, Eastwood removed Kaufman just 10 days into filming. This rare move for a lead actor to assume directing mid-production shocked the crew, but Eastwood guided the movie forward, transforming it into a defining work of his career. Behind the scenes, personal dynamics added complexity. Rumors suggested both Eastwood and Kaufman were interested in Leone. Kaufman, initially opposed to her casting, became attentive, while Eastwood developed his own bond. Their evolving relationships shaped the set atmosphere, and Leone's casting became pivotal in both personal and professional terms. Chief Dan George's portrayal of Lone Waite left a lasting impact. At 76, he brought dignity and humor, but struggled with memorizing lines. Eastwood supported him by quietly mouthing dialogue or encouraging improvisation, resulting in natural, heartfelt performances. George's timing and warmth added authenticity, making Lone Waite one of the film's most memorable characters. Despite praise, some accused the production of exploiting Native American actors. Cherokee performers were paid modestly and had limited input into cultural portrayals, overshadowed by Hollywood demands. While the film depicted Native characters as developed individuals rather than stereotypes, it left a mixed legacy of admiration and criticism. Action scenes involved dangerous stunts. Horses performed complex maneuvers, riders took risks, and safety standards of the 1970s were less strict. Although some animals were reportedly injured, the sequences added gritty authenticity. Scenes were physically demanding but visually thrilling, reinforcing the frontier's inherent danger. A minor on-set incident sparked the change in leadership. Kaufman had located the perfect dune for a sunset shot, marking it with a bottle, but shifting sands buried it. Insisting on finding the exact spot, hours passed as light faded. Eastwood, focused on efficiency, had the scene filmed elsewhere. Kaufman returned furious, marking the breaking point that led Eastwood to formally take control. Josey Wales' habitual chewing and spitting of tobacco added realism, but created set hazards, with crew members navigating messy, less sanitary conditions. Eastwood insisted on authenticity, and the practice became a memorable, if inconvenient, aspect of production. Some of the film's most memorable moments were improvised. Chief Dan George often struggled with lines, but Eastwood encouraged him to deliver their essence in his own words. His dry humor and wisdom created a natural, lived-in feel, blending warmth with insight. Allowing improvisation turned limitations into one of the film's strengths, showing that sometimes the best moments arise from letting actors be themselves. The distinctive look of the Outlaw Josey Wales owes a great deal to cinematographer Bruce Surtees, a longtime collaborator of Clint Eastwood. Renowned in Hollywood as the Prince of Darkness for his expertise in low-light cinematography, Surtees relied on natural shadows to give the film its moody, atmospheric tone. He avoided flashy tricks, instead allowing landscapes and lighting to tell their own story. Working with Eastwood's preference for efficiency, Surtees found ways to capture sweeping vistas and intimate close-ups without overcomplicating the setups. By using natural light during the autumn shoot, he produced visuals that were both authentic and painterly. Wide desert plains, rugged hills, and softly lit interiors all bore his subtle signature. While audiences may not have recognized his name, they certainly felt the impact. His cinematography gave the film a tone that distinguished it from other westerns of the era, less polished, more lived-in, and hauntingly beautiful. It served as proof that visuals could evoke emotion as powerfully as dialogue or music. Music also played a quiet but crucial role in shaping the tone of the film. For the score, Eastwood turned to Jerry Fielding, already known for his work on westerns such as The Wild Bunch. Fielding approached the project with restraint, creating music that underscored emotion without overwhelming it. His themes carried a subtle melancholy, reflecting the sorrow and resilience at the core of Josey's story. Unlike the sweeping orchestral scores typical of earlier westerns, Fielding relied on gentle strings and understated motifs to give the film a haunting rhythm, allowing silence and natural sound to do much of the work. This restrained approach mirrored Eastwood's minimalist, direct, and effective directing style. The Academy recognized Fielding's achievement with a nomination for Best Original Score. Although he did not win, his music has endured as one of the defining features of the film, demonstrating how subtlety can sometimes be more powerful than grandeur. Viewers familiar with Eastwood's earlier westerns immediately noticed echoes of Sergio Leone in the Outlaw Josey Wales. The film clearly drew on Leone, the Italian director who shaped Eastwood's career with the Dollars trilogy. From sweeping panoramic shots of rugged terrain to extreme close-ups focusing on eyes and expressions, Leone's visual style runs through the film. Eastwood himself acknowledged this influence, admiring Leone's ability to combine beauty with brutality. Many of the techniques Eastwood learned while working in Italy were incorporated into Josey Wales. The difference lay in tone. Unlike Leone's enigmatic drifter, Josey was given a full backstory, a family, and an emotional arc. By merging Leone's cinematic language with his own storytelling sensibilities, Eastwood created a western that felt both familiar and original. It paid homage to its influences while establishing its own identity, blending European style with American grit. Upon release, the film did not escape controversy. While audiences praised its story and action, some historians and descendants of Civil War families criticized the portrayal of guerrilla fighters. In reality, such groups were known for brutal raids and widespread destruction. The movie softened these realities, presenting Josey and his companions as tragic survivors rather than ruthless combatants. Families from both Union and Confederate sides worried the film romanticized a painful chapter of history, blurring fact and fiction and shaping public perception of a conflict that had left deep scars. Though the criticism did not affect the film's success, it added a layer of historical debate, making Josey Wales more than a western. It became part of the ongoing conversation about how history is remembered, retold, and reimagined through cinema. Even in a meticulously crafted classic like The Outlaw Josey Wales had its mistakes. Attentive viewers have spotted several errors, some of them amusing. During the climactic gunfight, Josey and his allies confront a group of soldiers. While only about 15 men are shown crossing a creek, far more appear to fall in the subsequent battle, creating a numerical inconsistency. Another discrepancy occurs when Josey fires a Gatling gun. Historically limited in capacity, the weapon on screen appears to fire endlessly, mowing down enemies without pause. Sharp-eyed fans may notice these moments, though they rarely distracted from the intensity of the action. For those who look closely, such errors are reminders that even iconic films contain small imperfections that slip through during production. The film also broke conventions with its runtime. Most 1970s westerns followed a tight formula, usually under 2 hours, allowing theaters to cycle audiences efficiently. The Outlaw Josey Wales, however, ran 2 hours and 15 minutes, unusually long for the genre. Eastwood believed the story needed room to breathe and resisted attempts to shorten it for industry standards. The extra length allowed more than a revenge story. Characters like Lone Wait, Grandma Sarah, and Little Moonlight were given the space to develop fully, making their journeys meaningful. The deliberate pacing mirrored the vast landscapes and long journeys of frontier life, immersing viewers in Josey's world. In retrospect, keeping the film expansive was a bold choice. Instead of trimming it to a conventional action movie, Eastwood crafted an epic blending character, culture, and narrative depth.